Hey everybody, it's Matt here, and I just wanted to remind you that the new podcast from Liz Feldman and Jesse Klein, Here to Make Friends, is coming out on Friday, March 14th. You gotta check it out. We love Liz, we love Jesse, and we know you're gonna love the pod. Here to Make Friends, Friday, March 14th.
Look, Matt.
Where?
Oh, I see. My, oh, my.
Bowen, look over there.
Wow, is that culture? Yes.
My goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Las Culturistas.
Ding dong, Las Culturistas calling. It's tough to be speechless on a day when you have to record a podcast because the art form requires you talk.
It feels unfair. I don't want to be at work right now because I'm very much like transcending existence, like physical space.
Right.
Like, it's all really kind of led up to this.
Honestly, Bo, maybe this has to be the series finale of Las Culture.
This is the last episode of Las Culture. Thank you all so much for the 9
for
years.
joining us all these years. It had to end this way. We'll always remember us this way.
We'll always remember us this way. And you started off the show saying speechless too. You're
wow.
really,
Yeah, we have to say
you're
a third.
rattling them off. Third. Let's see.
Art pop. There we go.
Perfect.
We nailed it.
We nailed it.
This is. Why don't you say how you feel?
I mean, this is one of the most important people to me. One of the most. I said this at the Radio City show for SNL 50. My favorite artist in the world. I left my body. We'll talk about this. I left my body because we said hi, and then you turn around and go, "Wait, Cher's on stage."
Yeah, hearing that
Cher.
you guys watched Cher together was a huge moment for me, even.
Yeah, for everybody. But I mean, we're just so happy she's here. The album Mayhem might be out already.
Oh, it's out depending on when this comes out. So you have to have grace, everybody, because we've listened to the album 1.5 times.
Yes.
We were brought to a secure location where we were basically told, okay, we're going to listen to this, and if we want to go back, we can listen to parts.
Yeah, it was in a bunker. It was like where they keep all the designated survivors in case of like nuclear fallout. But it was
we're
like
the Mayhem designated survivors.
We're the Mayhem designated
essentially.
survivors.
But it is perfect. We were ecstatic listening to it. And as you all know at this point, it's brilliant. We think it's our guest's best work, which is saying something
which is
and a
saying
half.
a lot. She's a 14-time Grammy winner.
Academy Award winner.
So many more accolades on top of that. Everyone, please welcome into your ears,
Lady Gaga!
Thank you so much. I am so happy to be here.
This is the joy of our life.
No, it's the joy of mine. I was so excited to see you both, and I just want to say also congratulations to both of you.
Thanks.
You are doing such amazing things. It's amazing to watch. No, seriously, you've had an amazing year, and I'm just like really excited to be here. You're also wearing a Joanne era T-shirt, which is really killing me.
I feel like I've only ever like dry cleaned this shirt because I want to preserve it.
I don't think I dry cleaned anything during Joanne.
No. You still got the Bud Light on you.
Not even the hats.
Not even the hats.
No.
Those are being sold at auction in like
someday.
20 years.
Yeah,
someday.
You know what I mean?
You have to tell Gaga about your Joanne tour experience.
Oh, okay. So
oh no,
you played MetLife here?
Yes.
It was pouring rain. I don't know if you remember.
Yes,
show.
I love a rain show.
Mm-hmm. I love a rain show too. So Diana Ross. I was. Oh, because I remember you said at the show, it's free production.
Yes, exactly. You don't pay for the rain.
You don't pay for the rain.
No.
And the rain kind of follows you because I feel like Marry the Night, it was the same thing too. The video for that, it was like.
Oh yes, I can't believe that I got away with that. We were exploding cars on the roof of the building.
Production value.
And it was raining, and they were like, you know, we have to stop production because it's raining. And the cameras, and I said, roll the cameras, let's go.
We're gonna miss it.
You had a Vivo interview. This is a throwback to Vivo, and you were in an amazing outfit. You had sunglasses on. You're telling this anecdote about Marry the Night, and at one point you just pull your glasses down and go, we got free rain.
Yeah, it's a big
Roll
deal.
the cameras.
Well, because when you're putting a music video together, there's so many things you want to do. I mean,
Right.
and everything is adds to the budget, and I'm trying to weigh what thing is more important than the other. And it wasn't actually supposed to be a rain scene at all, but then it happened.
Then it happened that way.
rain on fire. Come on.
Come on.
No. Too much Universal Studios-esque
Yes.
things happening.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
exciting. And then naturally I thought it would be a good idea to hang upside down from the sunroof of the car, the Trans Am.
The Trans Am.
Yeah.
That was a gorgeous Trans Am.
Thank you.
I was sick as a dog.
He was
that
so
show,
sick.
That City Field show.
Oh,
but no, I
no.
said, what did I say? MetLife. I meant City Field.
Okay.
It was City
But I
Field
agreed to MetLife.
because we've also seen you there.
When I play shows, like I get so tired on the road that like sometimes I forget the venue for which tour.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know.
I would imagine it's like one of those schedules where it's like you don't want this to happen, but you could yell out Barcelona
Yeah,
and you're in Brussels.
No, we can't do that.
No,
that
it'd
is
be horrible.
No.
That is not good.
No. We've seen you. Gosh, we've been lucky to see you in multiple venues now because it's City Field, MetLife. We saw one of the shows with Tony at Radio City.
Radio City, the last
Oh
show.
my
We were there.
gosh, What? You know, it's so funny. At the SNL 50 concert the other night, I was nervous to do Dick in a Box.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like, you know, if you're a comedian, being asked to do Who's on First is probably like really like, you know, so, and to me, Dick in a Box is a classic.
Of course.
So I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, why did I agree to do this? And then I was, you know, walking through the theater and I remembered that I had been, the last time I'd been there was with Tony. And I was like, you know, Tony would have just said, don't be nervous. Or if you are nervous, it's because you care. And I
Yeah.
do care.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, but a comedian doing Who's on First is like you. It's like you singing La Vie en Rose or something on film. It's like that. I feel like you've inhabited all of these classics for your entire life. I feel like you were playing Rachmaninoff at 4 or whatever the fuck. Like you've been doing this your whole life.
I have been, and it's. But I love so much being a part of entertainment, like in the truest sense. I don't mean any more than the thrill of the good old-fashioned hard work with other actors, other musicians, stage designers, costume makers, makeup artists, wig makers, the lighting, and like backstage at SNL 50 was insane.
So
like
fun.
we were all like getting ready to go on, and then like, you know, a human squid would walk by, and like then the B-52s would be there, and then, you know, someone would be getting their, you know, wig thrown on, and it was just, I don't know. I think that's my favorite part of show business, right?
Yeah.
Is the show of it all.
The
nuts
show
and
of it all.
bolts.
Because something about that concert, which we talked to Kevin Mazur, who, by the way, photographer.
Yes.
You want to hear something? Tell.
Yes.
My mom's boyfriend from high school. Can you believe?
Oh, that's some piping hot tea.
Yeah, I'm from Long Island. He took my mom to prom, and every time I see him now, Matt, he comes over like he's the guy.
He's the guy. But y'all, Readers, Katie's Publicist, Finals, Kyle's, Kevin Mazur, the like live event photographer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He's incredible. I've known him for so long.
Right.
Can I ask your mom his name?
Katrina.
I'm so, you know, when I see him, I'm
Yes.
gonna be like, so I heard about Katrina.
I'm gonna love it.
Katrina Claritas. She had an iconic high school name.
That's
Yeah.
sweet.
But,
Yeah.
but I was checking with him on Sunday. I was like, oh my God, Friday. Well, like, what was that about? I go, you go to all of these things, Kevin. Where does that rank among your nights? And he was like, that is one of the top 3
For
events
sure.
I've ever done.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest nights in entertainment. It was, and
Absolutely.
I heard it took 2 years to plan.
Yeah.
And I felt really emotional. I like couldn't figure out exactly what I wanted to say on stage. I ultimately decided to shout out Mark Ronson and the Roots because Mark and I wrote Shallow together, and the Roots were playing it with me, and I loved them so much. And, you know, but I almost said, like, and thank you to Lauren and SNL because, like, thanks for giving me a shot on the show years ago, because like SNL also helps break artists, and it's a huge deal. I don't know if people, I mean, I know that people know this, but I don't know that they know how much it means to the artist when we get booked for the show.
Yeah.
I mean, to this day, when I got called to do
double duty.
double duty in a couple weeks, full panic tears.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so happy, so elated. I couldn't be more proud. It was the thing that I wanted to do the most.
Yeah.
To promote my record and to just make people happy.
Yeah, it's going to happen. We're recording this before SNL.
Yes.
We're coming right off of the celebration, the 50th. But, I mean, when they told me that they booked you for double duty, the
You're gonna be incredible.
scream I scrumped,
The scream I
scrumped.
I was so excited. To me, like, I say to people, like, I'm in the business of making people smile. And that is 100% how I feel about SNL.
Yeah.
It's just that it is a night devoted to making people laugh at home, and I'm all about it.
But you literally embodied and captured that in the last time you hosted, which was that like jazzy applause cover. I still watch. It's like a pitch perfect. It is everything the monologue should be.
Thank you.
And it sets the tone for the show. It introduces, not that you need an introduction, especially at that time or now, but it's like that was the perfect way to build confidence for the audience that the show was going to be great.
It was like such a privilege to do that. And I'm a theater kid from New York. So, doing the SNL monologue is a big deal. It is a huge deal. And I don't know that I ever imagined that I would end up doing that. I think I had a lot more confidence that I would, just be a songwriter, singer, producer for as long as possible. But I didn't know that I would get embraced in that way. And that's what's cool about hosting and doing musical guests too is being the host. The monologue to me, the monologue is separate from being an actor in the skit.
Absolutely.
And then that's also separate from being the artist on stage as a musical guest. So it's like I get to kind of do all the things that I love.
things.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about how, like, you talk about what an amazing moment that is as an artist to be asked to do that show. And even in Star is Born, it's almost like an emotional, like, moment in the film when Allie is told you're doing SNL. It's like that and getting a Grammy nomination are both moments for that character in that movie.
Yes.
Did anything from that experience like influence the decision to do Shallow on SNL 50? Because you have so many songs you could have done, but you chose Shallow.
Well, so first of all, one of the reasons that that was included in A Star is Born is because a lot of A Star is Born was inspired by my real life. And I worked really, really close with Bradley and Eric on making sure that like the story of these two musicians felt real. And so that kind of feeling around, SNL and around a Grammy that's just like how it actually felt.
Truly important to you, and so that's reflected in that.
And
movie.
Shallow to me is the song I wish I had done on SNL.
Oh.
And when Andy and I started talking about doing Dick in a Box, he came to me and he said, I have this idea that we started off and you start with Shallow, and I started and it's like, doesn't sound good. And then you said, and we did the whole thing. And when I watched the rehearsal, I was like, oh, like, but now maybe they might want to hear it. Because we started and it doesn't go. So I thought it would be a chance to do that, and also to kind of, put some of my best work forward on a show that deserves your best work.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to me, when I see artists perform on SNL, like we all try to put our best foot forward, and so yeah, I wanted it to be like a heartwarming moment, hopefully for people at home too. I do like lots of different things.
Yeah.
I'm also into the dark arts and the poetry of pop music, and Shallow is very different than a lot of the music I've done in my career, but it's an important song to me because it helped me to connect with people that otherwise maybe didn't know if they could connect with someone like me. Like maybe they didn't relate to me as much, or maybe they didn't know someone like me in high school. So Shallow is an important song to me for that reason, and it just felt like the right one to do.
I remember the Chromatica Ball, like that, which was such a party, but we went with like 15 of our friends. And when you started Shallow, we all were like checking in with each other, like, this is really happening. Like, we're hearing Shallow. It is like a high point of culture.
60,000 people at MetLife, a hush fell. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't hear, you could hear a pin drop, It was just one of those sublime moments. And I think I remember like looking up at the crowd, just being like, I was shooting a movie in Charlotte. I flew back for that show. I was like, I'm not missing Gaga.
No, never.
Like, it was just a culmination of like that era, which was like kind of, was a glorious era that got kind of messed up by the pandemic. And like, it just felt like this victory lap and this like culmination of like what everybody wanted to celebrate together with you.
Thank you. It was a really special tour to me. I hadn't seen my fans really on tour since I had to stop the Joanne World Tour.
Right.
And I was like really not well during that time, and it totally broke my heart to have to cancel. And that was the second tour that happened on.
Right.
So I was a little bit nervous about going out for Chromatica. I was like, am I going to be able to do it? Am I going to be in pain when I'm on stage? What's it going to be like? And it was amazing. I had the best time. Also, my amazing partner Michael was with me. He came with me the entire tour. We were together during the prep for the tour. We lived in Leeds while we put the tour, which is like very funny having a Brutalist stage in the middle of Leeds with that music.
God, that set was incredible.
So good.
Thank you. But it was, it was special and healing. And I think in a way, it kind of set me up for this next time.
Yeah.
I gotta say, just hearing you talk about being in service of the idea of entertainment, I think it means to me what I hear is that, like, for a while I always thought about you as like someone who is perpetually being a student to the concept of fame. But I think what it's very quickly become, and like even sooner than I realized, was you are a student of entertainment, and it's not the same thing, obviously. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I think you're right about earlier. And earlier in my career, I was a student of fame, and I was fascinated with it, and it was a part of my art. And I studied it. I was like really, really fascinated with Andy Warhol, and I tried to sort of take the spirit of Warhol into my pop shows, like even like the choices of the music with the lighting and a piss yellow wig that would have been one of his screen prints. Like it was all about this idea that anyone could become a star if they studied how. But the thing that I didn't know that would happen was my fans. Like, I didn't know who they would be. I didn't know how it would make me feel. I also did not anticipate, but I'm so glad that I did, hear the stories of people all over the world. I mean, I would stop outside my hotel rooms and I would talk to fans. I would invite fans backstage after the shows. I would play demos for fans years before I released music and be like, what do you think of this? Let's talk about it. What's your home life like? And they would tell me about their lives. And so I've grown up, it's almost been 2 decades in the public. It's definitely been 2 decades for me as a recording artist. But I kind of grew up and I changed. I was a student of fame, but I ultimately decided that the reason I want to do this is to make people happy with art. And then like now, I mean, I don't know if my fans really know this about me now, but I like warm up my voice twice a day, and I practice piano every day, and I'm like working harder than ever in the dance studio. So I like keep up my chops.
Yeah.
Because to me, that hard work is what my fans deserve, and also it's, to me, that's like the privilege of being an artist, is that you get to work on your craft. And I want to be able to say that I'm getting better at it, not that I've done it already, and that's that.
You know what? We have to talk though about your vocals on this new album. Like, we listened to it, like we said. I turned to Bobby. I was like, how do you do it? It is so Olympic what you do with your voice. And I would imagine, you said you're warming up twice a day. I would imagine your vocal warm-ups are what, like half hour long? So you're really in the pocket on this, like the rock vocals that are not easy to do, the passion with which you sing. When you're recording and you're putting songs like these together, do you go back and back and back vocally, or how can you do that?
Yes, I actually pour Andrew and Circuit in the studio, and Gesaffelstein, when we were doing vocals, I would sometimes do like 50 takes.
Wow.
And I mean, they were very, supportive, and it was fine. But the reason is because when I'm writing music, I'm sometimes imagining someone else is singing it.
Of course, yeah.
Because it helps me to kind of embody the spirit of a superstar. Because I didn't like always feel very confident as a kid, and that stayed with me my whole life. So during the writing process, like when I wrote Born This Way, I was actually thinking about Whitney Houston.
Wow.
And so I love that you knew that. No, but I was thinking always about different people, but then when I get there to sing it, I'm like, okay, I could sing this in a lot of different ways.
Right.
How should I sing it? So take 1, I do it one way. Take 2, I do it another way. By take 8, I've sunk into it differently.
Yeah.
Take 16, I go, I'm going to try something completely different, scratch it all.
Yeah.
And so I think what you are hearing on this album is that I was actually pretty bossy actually in the
Yeah.
studio about getting like the best possible vocal and also pushing myself to do things that I've never done on a record before. I don't think I sound on this album like I sound on any
No.
So
records.
many vocal discoveries on this, and so many. This is crazy to say because you're always so many different characters in your music, which you're speaking to, but so many more than ever, and new characters that we're
Yes.
hearing.
Yes, and which character is going to tell that story?
Yeah.
And why?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I remember there was this very early interview of yours where it was for V Magazine. It was like you were in, like, Mario Testino made you get all like tanned, and you know, it was a very like Testino look, and it was incredible. But I think it was someone, I think it was John Norris at Fuse who was asking you about like, or you brought up Faith No More, and I was
Yes.
like, okay, this is not what I expected Gaga to like love and like zero in on. This is like the real musical like taste that she has. And then it would shift to like, oh, but then this bitch knows the Great American Songbook like the back of her hand.
Yep.
And then it's like, wait, and then she also like, she's like a classically trained pianist, and she like fucking knows like all of these. I'm sorry, I didn't not mean to call you a bitch. I'm sorry.
What are you? Don't.
No, you said this
we know
bitch
what's
colloquially.
going on.
You know what I'm saying?
It's, no.
Italian girl from New
Don't
York.
apologize.
She's seen the
but it's like,
streets.
wait, hold
Come
on.
on.
My
Thank
soul
you.
just left my body. This bitch knows.
Thank
This
you.
bitch knows
Thank
the Great
you.
American
Yes,
Songbook.
I do. Yes, I do. Thank you.
Period. And like, I just think the characters are not so much characters as they are the knowledge and being the student of music, of entertainment. Like you are, like you embody all of these things. And so I think with Mayhem, I think with this album, it's like Bobby was saying that this is probably the most authentically you album you've ever put out. And that makes me think, well, then there's something to Gaga being an amalgamation of all these different things and these genres and these studied, detailed musical exercises, I guess. But like, that's who you are, because I couldn't boil you down to one thing, and I'm sure you couldn't either.
No, I mean, I am definitely all of these things, and that's what Mayhem is. It's a celebration of all of that. And, you know, it's so funny, as you're talking about this too, I'm like thinking about this moment where Michael was in the studio every day. Michael executive produced the record with me. And there was at one point I was like really into this electro grunge sound, like on Perfect
can hear it.
Celebrity.
Yeah.
Perfect Celebrity. It's like
Right.
whole. It's
We were saying
yeah.
whole, we were saying garbage.
So
yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna make the whole album like
Yeah.
this, and I'm gonna change everything. And he was like, no, you are not. You can't do that but he was right, because I am all of the different genres, all of the different approaches, all the different processes. That's why it ultimately is Mayhem, is because if you're stepping really far back, it like doesn't make sense. But when you put it all together, it's me, and I appreciate you seeing that in me. I feel like since the beginning of my career, there was always some type of criticism coming from somewhere of like, but who are you?
Right.
You know, and what is Lady Gaga, and can
Right.
you explain it to me? And what's your style? And you know what genre really is it?
What should I call you?
What should
Yeah.
I call you? Like, what's your?
What are we supposed to
what
feel?
are you really like?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that I first of all, I was terrified to make a pop record again, and I decided to do it, and I felt very supported in doing it by Michael, by my family, by everyone around me. There the feeling like people think you're chaotic is like there's something. There was a joy in that for a while, but there was also like a pain in that too.
Was that where the fear was coming from?
Yeah, well, it's like especially as a woman, like if people are like you're chaos, like it's kind of like part of me is like and then the other part of me is like, but what do you mean by that,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
it's
And like
dismissive.
it's kind of like you're a mess. And like, you're a mess because I can't figure out how to organize you.
Right.
And I don't know how to think about you. And I think what I want my fans to know is like, that's other people's problem. That's not
Period.
your problem. You can be the whole you. And that was a part of this record, and I felt excited as a female producer too, like just doing whatever I wanted when I wanted to in the way that I heard it. And I'm so happy, like even before we started, that you brought up Killahs, because it's like my
we
favorite
love
record on the
Killahs.
album.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
But you're gonna die tonight. Well, no, you don't even know.
People are gonna lose
We've
their
heard
minds.
it twice, and we've been like grabbing onto that in our brain. Like this whole album. Let's talk about the album. Like it's like face melty, brain scratchy, heart screamy pop dance with this theme of mortality throughout.
Decay, chaos.
Yes, and I know you've said before, like you watch a horror movie every night before you go to bed. I don't know if you're in that zone now, but the theme of death and like dancing in the face of it is obviously all over this. What I've always wanted to ask you though is, how much are you laughing while you're creating? Like, how much is joy and humor and laughter a part of your creative process when you're making music?
It's all of it.
Yeah.
It is. There's a lot of humor on Killahs, especially.
Yes, we're laughing.
What a
So
funny
funny.
record.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Right? What a funny record. I'm like not that confident. The person that wrote that record is confident, but I would say also though that it's like the process is a little bit manic because I also get really serious, and I know I can be difficult to work with because like I'm a very warm-hearted person, but when I'm like songwriting, I get like
You want what you want.
I'm trying to listen to what I'm hearing and get it out as fast
Yeah.
as possible. But then maybe I'll, the lyric, I'm a killer and boy, you're gonna die tonight. And like, right. And then that's funny. And then that comes out. But then I get serious again because I'm trying to figure out if the guitar lick is right. And I'm like, no, it's not that one. It's this one. Do it again. Like it's kind of it's the process is chaotic. And I'm not also a very linear thinker. I'm very tangential.
Love it.
And sometimes if I can't get one part of the song right, I will need to stay on it for 3 days.
Gotcha.
Like a bass line or a guitar riff, and then other times I will move on from it and I'll go like, no, let's go to the pre-chorus now. It's sort of it's a very non-linear process, and I love it.
That's
and I
true
love
creativity,
it. And
of course.
I'm so like also appreciative that my partner, like he, the first few years that we were together, I wasn't in the studio. And when he saw me start to make music, he was like, "Oh my God, I've never seen you happier than when you're making music." And that was, I felt very seen by that. And I think why it is so important to me is when you grow up in the public eye, as you know, there's things that people grow to like about you, but there's things that they don't know about you. Like they don't know the you that's like maybe deep in reflection at home working on something. They know the outward facing you. So it feels really nice to be seen by someone for the thing that you do alone that makes you special. That's your gift, right? Like the thing the world doesn't see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you even alluded to this in the Oscar acceptance where you were just like, this is hard work. There are sacrifices that need to be made to get to this point. Like, the reason I'm on this stage is because I worked so hard. And that is the essential thing about you, Lady Gaga, is that you're like...
So sweet.
I can't
So
believe
sweet.
you're here.
Yeah, I love being here. I love it. I love also community. So like being with you and talking with you and bonding over music is like, this is the thing I probably miss the most from my time before I became famous. I did an interview downtown last week, and I picked the location, and I was like, we got to go to this bar that I used to write music at, and we did the interview there, and I like cried during the interview talking about all my friends down there. And
What bar?
Welcome to the Johnsons.
Nice.
And
Okay.
I went to, like, there was a lot of bars down there that we went to,
Yeah.
but that was just one of them. And I used to go there during the day. Like, I'd go at like 1 o'clock
right.
and like order a Pabst Blue Ribbon and a shot of whiskey and
Yeah.
write on a napkin. But living around artists, being around writers, songwriters, comedians, photographers, actors, musicians, go-go dancers, club promoters. You know, we were all like our own little group, and we supported each other. And it was actually really hard to go to Hollywood and do what I was doing there because it was just not like New York at all. And I know
so
you guys,
commodified.
you know about New York, and
Yeah.
so this is actually a hugely like a deep joy for me to be here because I get to like do the thing that made like it's part of who I am, right?
Yeah.
It's like talking about it all.
Well, talk about your current community, which is like Watt, Circuit, Gesaffelstein, which, by the way, Killahs, when I see Killahs featuring Gesaffelstein, I'm like, well, I think I have an expectation what the song is.
I
Was
know.
totally blown away by
Didn't he
it.
flip the script on everyone?
Both of you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, thank you. Gesaffelstein is very, very talented. He's very, very specific. I won't give away any of his secrets of how he works, but I loved working on that record with him, and it's so funny. Every time we talk to each other, we always go like, "Oh man, I love this song. Oh
Yeah.
man, this song."
It's a very special
We're
one.
It's an industrial funk song.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only live instrument on it is the guitar.
Is the guitar? I was going to ask
We
because
were
everything
blown
else is
away by that.
electronic.
That's right. That's right. It's just really it's just so it's so different for me, and I think there's areas of Mayhem that are the tip of the iceberg of where I might even go next.
Yeah.
You know, like that was some of the joy of making the album was going like, oh, no, I'm not done with this.
Right.
You know, now I have to take this further.
Talk about sequencing this one because I feel like that was its own process.
Sequencing the album was, I mean, Michael was like worried about me. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No." Like I just kept listening to the songs and in every conceivable order.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, lots
wow.
of permutations.
Because there's versions. It's you know, do you do it by BPM? That's like the most to me the most obvious first version is like for it to feel like one night at a
Right.
club,
Yeah.
right? And then there's the other version where it's like, okay, but do you do it based on the story? And like,
Yeah.
is there a story that I'm telling here? Which there is. So I did kind of a mixture of both of those things. And you know, the album kind of starts out with like the devil on your shoulder
Yeah.
whispering to you like, "Would you like to make some bad decisions tonight?"
Right.
Because like I'll help you.
Yeah.
Like I can fix this feeling that you're
Right.
having. And by the end of the album, you know, you've gone through joy, you've gone through partying, you've gone through anger. I mean, Perfect Celebrities, maybe the most angry song I've ever made.
I think
Yeah.
so.
And then Vanish Into You is a song about wanting to disappear into someone.
Yeah.
It's a happy love song, but it's also dark. We're happy just to be alive. And then Killahs keeps the party going, but it's like that. It's that moment at the party when you're like a little numbed out, and
The
you're
end,
like,
the end of
We
that.
love it.
Your fucking
outros.
wail. Yeah, the outros are fucking
Incredible.
"Thank
Killer.
you." I am a very big fan of the outros too. We actually had a thought to release the outros like 2 days before the album, but I don't think I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Understand-
What's the hesitation?
Yeah.
Well, just because I feel like when you hear them as an actual outro,
You're right,
it's
you're right.
Like then it's an outro. But if I give it, then it's a snippet.
But then it's a snippet, and then it kind of is decontextualized from the actual work.
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is-
Killahs, you really experienced that outro
Yes.
because of the beginning.
Right.
Like it.
Right.
You kind of need the beginning. Cinderella's got to walk up the stairs before the glass slipper. You
Before
know.
she can leave in a hurry.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. The other song that I feel like was like we listened to several times, and the build on this one is just amazing, but it's so different for you. We feel is How Bad Do You Want Me? We love How
Loved
Bad Do
it.
You Want Me.
Oh my god!
And
I
you're
almost
like,
didn't put that on the album.
No, we're
Really?
so happy you did
Thank
because
you.
it's like throwbacky for you because it's very pop. It really
It's
very much is.
It's like a total hyper pop song.
But I
Yes.
was like, I hear like a high school girl singing this with her ripped up,
100%.
like how bad do you like?
Yeah.
bad. Like it feels, you know what I mean? Like we can see and hear the character in this. Like, tell us about that song.
Okay, so very funny story is Michael and I started that song at home, but I started it first, and he heard me singing it, and he walks in from the kitchen and he goes, "Is that about me?" And I was like, no. And then he came on in and we started to like finish it together. And, okay, that song embodies a feeling that I've had probably my whole life, which is that I always felt archetyped as the bad girl. And it's why the lyric is kind of funny. You like my hair, my ripped up jeans. You like it's like that's like so stereotypical. Like the girl with ripped jeans is bad, right?
Sure.
It's so kind of silly and humorous. But I've always felt this kind of like I don't know, shame that I've always been at war with this feeling that if I am, interested in someone, that like they're actually longing for a good girl.
Gotcha.
But they're stuck with me, and I'm who they really want. But like we're in this like three-way relationship, and there is no actual other good girl, but the good girl's like in their head, and
Right.
they're kind of comparing me the whole time.
That girl that you like ain't real.
Right.
How bad do you want me
for real?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God,
we love
the
it.
lyrics.
No, I'm telling you, we've been like just texting it to each other. Like,
So
how bad do you want me for real?
Yeah, the good girl in your dreams is mad you're loving me. I know you wish that she was me. How bad do you want me? So
Yes.
and it's so funny too because it's a fun pop song, but I cried when I wrote it. Like it was like
my favorite kind of song, emotional pop. Like
I have some voice recordings of it somewhere that I have like from the original. That maybe I'll just drop those one at some point.
That's the tease, I guess.
But I also was also not sure if I should put that on the record, and Michael was like, "You have to. Like, your fans are gonna love that song."
What was the hesitation around that about?
I don't know. Sometimes when things are really super pop, I get like, I don't know, I get a weird reaction.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. I felt this way about Just Dance. Thank God I didn't listen to myself then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna ask, is it about the prior work? But I think there's something about this current team around Mayhem between Wanton Circuit and Paris. It's like these are all people who understand what came before, but are facing and have a vision for the future for
Yes,
you.
I mean, Andrew, what was great about working with him is he also plays a lot of different instruments. So, and I know how to write on all those different instruments. So if we were in the studio, I would just be like, okay, like play the guitar this way, do the bass line this way, and then we would do it over and over, and we would riff back and forth. Circuit is an amazing musician. Also, he's also like the fastest producer programmer that I've ever seen it ever. He's wildly fast. So he also does amazing analog synth work. We had like every iconic analog synth possible in the studio. Andrew also had a mechanic there that was working on the synths to kind of like bring out the low end in certain areas and like sort of like tailor the instruments to be unique for the album. And Gesaffelstein, I will share nothing.
Okay.
Because the man is a mystery, and I'm gonna keep it that way. He shall remain.
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
Also, Die With a Smile at the end of the album. It's this beautiful moment of like, first of all, the first line being "I just woke up from a dream" really kind of works after what's happened, and then it does feel like a beautiful cinematic like credits roll.
Well, what's
it's
nice,
like a waltz too, which I love.
Thank you. I as a personal choice, I really wanted the Mayhem to end.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean? Like, because Blade of Grass is a beautiful song, but you don't get the feeling that the Mayhem is over with Blade of Grass. Blade of Grass is a song about saying, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you, but I just want you to know that now that you've asked me to spend the rest of my life with you, all I can think about is how hard it was to get here.
Wow.
So I did make the decision that I wanted there to be a message of hope on the record because I feel nervous about speaking about mental health issues at this stage of my life. I think only because I talked about them so much for so many years, and I'm so passionate about mental health and people getting help, but I'm also I deal with my own sort of nerves about people only talking about me in that way.
Right.
I don't want to be defined by that time in my life, but I will say that having personal mayhem and struggling mentally, that is a very particular kind of chaos that I hope that people who do struggle hear this record and then know that there's peace at the end of it.
Yeah.
And that it can get better, because it truly got better for me.
Yeah.
And I hope to, I just really wanted that to be a part of it. And also in working with Bruno, who like 100% just collaborated with me, like head to head, musician to musician. And I'm usually the only woman in the room when I'm making music. And to be treated with that kind of respect really meant a lot to me, and it felt like the only way to put a period on the end of the album, if that makes sense. Like that and also that I'm sure you've heard the phrase reheating your nachos.
Yeah,
right. Like, I had never heard that, and I was like, "What is this?"
It's
This is
running
kinda
rampant.
taking
People
the
are
world by
really
storm.
using it.
Yeah, it is. But I have to say, like, there's something beautiful in it, because I think being a female artist, there was always pressure on me. What is she going to do next? How is she going to reinvent herself?
Yeah.
How is she going to change? Well, she's going to do the same thing forever. And then I would reinvent myself, and I would change, and they'd be like, we wish she was like, she used to be, right? And I think what I realized making this album is there is a sound and a style and a way of creating music that I did come up with. And I'm owning it on this album.
Yep.
And it's to me, I did it in a new way. And I also took myself to musical places that I've never been to before, and I was a student of music. But I think it's okay for anyone to own their own inventions and be like, this is me, and I'm the creator of me. And a lot of female artists, we know that people say, well, that record was successful because of this producer, or this thing was successful because of
so
that.
unfair.
And it's not fair to women to do that. It's women are creators as well. We are the creators of our lives, and it's our vision. And we weren't made. We made ourselves.
I think out of all your albums, this one stands as like a true artistic statement for you. It is you're painting with every color on the like on the palette. It's like, I don't think you should ever. Well, first of all, I don't think you will ever be defined by any of the mental health conversation. It's only been helpful to people. You have literally. You've saved my life. I would listen to Marry the Night in very dark times. I still do. Oh my God, Tuesday night writing it at SNL. Sometimes I'll hit that track. I gotta marry the fucking night because it's 4 a.m. and I have a sketch to finish. You know what I mean?
I do.
I completely understand this relationship you have with the people, the way people talk about your life and what you've gone through. It is only enriching what the work is. Truly.
Thank you. I thanks for sharing that. I'm so sorry that you go through those times. I think it's it's like something I have to work through, because it really was true that for a while, and I don't know if you can relate to this in any way, but it's sometimes when you get to that place, talking about it is the healthiest thing for you.
Yeah.
And like, you have to get it out. And if you don't get it out, you're just living in silence about it. And it's like this secret that is making you feel more sick. I'm a work in progress. It's like, I'm just, I'm not an authority on anything really. I just am a person, and I love making people happy. And I hope that people will put on Mayhem start to finish and just have a good time, because it's ultimately meant to be a celebration of you. But I think I did make it for those that feel like maybe they don't always know how to make sense of themselves, and I'm saying, like, that's cool. It's okay. You don't have to make perfect sense of it.
That's what the sequencing is about in the end. That's probably why you landed on this order of songs, because that's the statement.
That's right.
Well, we have the central question of our podcast that we ask everybody, that we're going to ask of you, Lady Gaga, which is, what was the culture that made you say culture was for me? This can be anything from a film you saw that moved you in a certain direction, a song, an artist, something environmental. If you could think, I became something close to Lady Gaga, if not full on Lady Gaga in this moment.
I have a few different ones, I feel like.
We love that.
I think the one that is the most important to me is I had gay friends in high school, and I didn't have a lot of friends in high school, and I went to an all-girls school, which means that when school was over, I used to walk like 8 blocks away to the boys' school, and they weren't out yet, but we were friends, and we would do the musicals together, and I found my people.
Yeah.
And that, like, and then later in my career, when I started performing out, and I had LGBTQ plus fans, I was like, oh, this is the community that loved me when I was a child, and this is the community that I'm meant to be a part of now. And so I don't think I would be Lady Gaga without the queer community.
Wow.
You're such an important friend in the life of a gay person when you are that person. You know what I mean? Like that's like such a silly way to sequence those words, sequencing. But I'll just never forget my safe spaces. When I wasn't out, when I was in high school, when I felt like I could talk about my influences, talk about the music I wanted to talk about, like telling all the boys in my school that I liked Limp Bizkit and all love to them, but I wanted to talk about Christina Aguilera, and then finding the girls and being like, don't you love the last track, Obvious, on the self-titled? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like being able to share a language and share a humor. Like, that is such a, and you have grown into such a maximum version of that. And it was, I mean, jumping around, we just have to say, it was so beautiful. And thank you so much for saying what you said on the Grammys.
Oh,
for speaking to our community and speaking to the trans community and people that need it the most.
That was my absolute privilege. And I promised myself that if I won a Grammy that night, I was going to say something that was in support of something that is so important, which is to be protective and loving to a community that is experiencing violence.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's my privilege to be a part of this community. And it's the language that we speak to each other, and it's also like, thank you for teaching me so much about the world. I can't, like, I couldn't be the person that I am without the stories of all of the people that I've met.
Totally.
And the authenticity and the realness. Like, I have so many gay friends that like just share with me their truth, and that's a real gift. Like, how many people do you meet that don't do that?
Right.
Everybody.
Right. And it's like, and that can be also not a great way to move through the world. So, to me, this is my privilege to be a part of it. And I know I wouldn't be the same. And, I think like Born This Way for me it's like easily my favorite album that I ever created. And what's interesting is the second answer to the question that you asked me, if I could think of another culture, it would be that culture of Friends on the Lower East Side. And Born This Way was a mixture of the inspiration of the queer community, my love of the queer community, as well as like this like techno rock, electro rock, underground New York metal scene that I was a part of. So, all of those things, like that blender is like truly what makes me, and it still is. And I just feel really, I think this is an important time for us all to be real with each other and ask for what we need from each other.
Well, something about that night where you won the Grammy with Bruno that was so impactful, because I was just watching at home, kind of just because a couple of hours had gone by in the show already, and I was just like, I guess no one's really addressing what's going on in like a real important way. And you broke the seal on that, and then the immediate response from the audience and from people at home was, thank God you said something.
So grateful.
Because I will always think about the way you handled the rumors and the way you even talked about it with Anderson Cooper, which was like, would that be such a bad thing? Like, the fact that you were even talking about this recently, where you're like, you had to decide whether or not you would, quote unquote, fix the rumor, but how would that make someone feel if they were trans, and why would you inject more shame into that situation? Because I think there was some turning point in Lady Gaga as an artist who was studying fame, because that's a moment where I don't know, we experience this on such a smaller scale than you, obviously, but it's like there's nothing more frustrating than someone saying something about you that isn't true,
Right.
and you don't have the opportunity to address it, or you're not, and all you want to say is that's not true. But for you to flip that on its head and be like, if it were true, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Is huge.
Yeah, well, I think that was probably the most responsible I ever felt for my, like, the words that were going to come out of my mouth at that point. Like, I really did understand that the way that I would react to that would, I thought be meaningful. But to be frank, I didn't think about it for very long.
Even better.
No, but seriously, it was outrageous to me that it's also kind of a weird thing. Like, so how do you feel about these rumors? I'm like, what are we talking? Like, what are we talking about? These are people's lives.
Yes.
These are people's real lives, and that's what makes me so upset about it today. Is when I see people peering down at others and not and making it like socially acceptable to peer down and to say that the trans community should be treated this way is wrong. It is wrong. It's violent. It is everything I hate. It is everything I hate.
To just go after the most vulnerable people.
Yes.
And yeah.
That's
Yes.
why community is so important, though, because had you not been exposed to community and had you not had this understanding of people's humanity, someone may have been put in that situation as a pop star that's being rocketed to fame and aggressively trying to be defined by this thing that the media is inherently saying is some negative thing. But because you had that exposure to community and because you knew the reality that these are people's lives, you were able to be in that position and be so gorgeous and responsible.
But
and
that's
that's why
blessing.
that's important.
The blessing is when I was accepted by the queer community, that was the gift to me, because then I get to learn and I get to experience and have real relationships that change my insides. And sometimes people ask, how can I do this better? Can you explain this to me? People want to learn more, and I always have the desire to say, be friends with more people in the queer community. That's the best way to learn, is to just be a part of the world.
And it's quite easy. We're all pretty friendly.
That's right.
The
best.
I mean, you are such an important part of that conception for people, because I think I had come out of the closet again when Born This Way came out, because I went to conversion therapy, obviously did not work out.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so Matt had come out in college, so we've known each other since college. Matt had come out around the same time. We were both doing comedy. He was in the sketch group. I was in the improv group. Born This Way came out the single came out the same week as this college comedy festival. We would drive from NYU
Skidmore.
up to Skidmore, and we were just blasting that song for 48 straight hours, being wasted, just in some tool shed and
grungy,
the back
grungy
as fuck. Just that is.
And he felt emboldened to come out that weekend.
That's really special. That's really, really special.
You're so important to a huge swath of people who only want the best things for you and for each other. And if there is community in this world, it is fully embodied in that sector, but also that those people need leadership, and you've always been that leader, culturally, artistically, in so many ways. You've always been that person.
I
You continue.
I
to be.
appreciate you saying that, but you know what? More than being a leader, I just want to do my part.
Yeah.
And I really believe that we can all do our small part, and then when we all do our small part, it makes a big part.
Yeah.
And I believe that we will continue to show people that are filled with hatred and ignorance that they should be looking up to the queer community and following and learning about love and learning about grace, learning about kindness. I really believe that. And I'm not giving up.
No.
No.
And we know, and neither are we. And it's But it's so interesting that the answer that you gave to the question was almost like the very simple, beautiful answer that felt like was coming out in the results of the election and everything, is people were just saying one word: community.
Yeah.
Look around you, water the flowers,
Right.
build those connections, maybe find new connections.
That's right.
Community.
That's
That is
right.
really what it's all about, and exposure to like the humanity of everybody.
That's right. And it can't just, I know that it feels important for me to say too that yes, I say these things publicly, but like it's actually even more important to me that I live them in my life.
Right.
Like that is the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like the category is dance or die. The
truly
only
is.
way forward is to be joyous and to celebrate each other in that way, because like I think Abracadabra is like, I think my interpretation of it is it is this duel between it's death or love. It's the only alternative.
There's really only one option in that video. It
Really.
like she announces the category, but like you kind of know, like, no, we're gonna dance.
We
Yeah,
can't
it's an easy
die.
choice for me.
Yeah, we're gonna dance.
It's speaking of dance. Okay, so we'll be at Coachella. I'm going weekend 1. Bowen has to work. He's gonna go weekend 2. I think I may go again. Is there? Because we're listening to the album, and we're like, oh my god, in the desert, this is gonna be insane. Could you?
Bring some water and
Yeah,
Of course.
we will be
towel for
safe.
your face.
Yes. So, how long have you been thinking about that performance?
All night, every night since
Yeah.
I said yes, and also before then. I mean, I didn't really get a chance to do Coachella the way I wanted to.
Because you came in last,
heroically
which
filled in.
Yeah.
It was great. It was actually great for A Star Is Born too, because Coachella agreed to let us use the stage to
Major.
film the movie. As you know, making movies and production, like having places to film is a positive thing. It was great for the film.
Yeah.
I had like 3 days to get ready for it,
Oh my God.
which is absurd.
Yeah, it's not fair.
But for this, I am just putting everything that I have into it, and I'm really excited. And but I don't want to give anything away
Great.
because
Don't.
I truly want it to be like a big surprise.
I feel like I have heard you say in recent interviews that you have been moving in the direction of something slightly more stripped down, because there was a time in your career where the set pieces would be like unmanageably big. You know what I mean? And now you are thinking in terms of sustainability and in terms of like
I do.
Yeah.
I do think a lot more now about like not wasting and not overproducing things, because when I was younger I used to get like so nervous that we would like run out of props, or run out, or costumes would get ruined, or something wouldn't work well, so we would have a backup. But now I have an archive with a lot of like costumes from all my previous tours and TV shows, and so now I try to reuse those and repurpose them. And in the Abracadabra video, we did some of that, as well as like the white cape that I'm wearing.
Wedding dresses?
It was all vintage wedding dresses.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm changing.
I don't think you need the overproduction, obviously, which is what you're saying. It's like people will just be fucking gagged to see you in any kind
That'd
of
be nuts.
stage picture. Well, the thing about the Radio City show with Tony Bennett is like, we were with our friend Sudi, and we just, the three of us kept saying, she just always knows her stage picture.
Thank you. But I do believe when it comes to stage performance, and this is probably has to do more with me like loving theater so much too, is that you can do a lot with like a black box theater and a spotlight, and it's how it's lit. It's your pose.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way that you say the first line. More adornment and more money doesn't necessarily mean better.
Certainly.
It's like how you think about it,
Yeah.
and how you bring it to. I think simplicity is actually like very, very powerful. But that also is not indicative necessarily of what Coachella will be. So
Sure. I just brought that up as maybe a little.
You were talking
query.
on Hot Ones actually about like performing at the Slipper Room way back when,
Yes.
which is crazy.
Because we've done shows there.
We've done
Yeah.
shows there, and like I was just thinking to myself when you were talking about that, some of my most formative, memorable, like theatrical experiences have been in rooms with like 7 or 8 other people, watching someone create fantasy.
That's right.
When you shouldn't be able to, like, but yet it is like lighting choices, the way things sound in rooms like that.
That's right. It's the stage.
Yeah.
It's like the magic of the stage that because when you do things like, I mean, there are clubs where people perform right, like in the room, like on the floor,
Right.
But to me, the context changes on a stage. You know,
It's elevated.
It's elevated, and you know, like I'm going to see a show, and there's something's going to try to move me.
Yeah.
And I do find in New York, actually, at some of those downtown clubs, that like there is immense talent.
Yes.
Immense talent, and it's so much fun. And I've always like also been so in awe of the drag shows in New York.
Oh,
Like,
the best.
It is unreal. And I've been watching some of the recreations on TikTok of the video, and it's just like it's I mean,
Yeah.
Mind blowing. Oh, was Jan did it with they the next day after the
Oh,
after
wow.
the video
Yeah,
released.
I mean, well,
how?
They just
Because
got
they
all
live
they just
for
got
it.
all of
How?
like the
No, but also like the lacing is perfect on the corset, and then the hat, and like I saw people making like the spiked hat out of plastic, and then hand spray painting it cranberry.
cranberry.
I mean, when you came to Drag Race and did that workshop with them, that was just taking it the extra mile. And I think that telegraphed to everyone that it is about the details. It is, I mean, like that is such a, of course it's about so much more than that, but the details do matter. You were so detailed in the way that you walked through with those queens.
I mean, I loved being a part of Drag Race.
Yeah.
That was so much fun and also a privilege. I loved it so much. I mean, I think that I have like just the ultimate respect for drag as an art form, and I also think drag very often does it so much better than we do it on red carpets, honestly. I think that like it's just on another level.
Yeah. Yeah.
How much of what you do you think of as drag?
I mean, that's interesting. I probably wouldn't use that word just because I do feel like it's a very specific art form
Sure.
that I don't like do. But there is to me also a drag element in what I'm doing. But I don't think that, you know, wigs and makeup and costumes always mean drag. Like
Sure, sure.
I think like it is a very beloved and specific art form, and but not no.
Not
yeah,
now.
but certainly not.
But
no.
certainly not no.
Yeah.
I'm just so it's kind of like sometimes people will you know ask me that, and I just like it's hard to say yes because I would never want to like take away from someone that's devoted their life to it.
Sure.
You're coming from a place of respect for
Yeah,
what they do.
exactly.
That's my sort of rationale whenever someone's like, "What would your drag name be?" I'm like, "I don't know because I've
hard one.
I've not thought that far because and I honestly think it's because I love the form so much that I'm like, I don't want to insert myself in that without earning my chops, without like
That's right. Well, if I
developing.
was going to do it, I would have to like step it up like,
Yeah.
in a big way.
Right. So there you go.
To speak on another art form, because we went to NYU here, you did a semester at Cap 21.
Yes.
So we had a bunch of friends in Cap 21 when we were there, and that was like legendary that you had graced that studio for even a second. Is there still a part of you that would do musical theater in like a mainstream sense? Like, would you go and do Broadway? And
I
if
think-
so, is there a role?
I think so. Yes. I think I would love to write a musical.
Well, of course.
I think that
A new one.
Yeah, a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would give me the ultimate joy of like crafting all the music and
Yes.
working with amazing writers on developing the story and the script, and then the stage design and the costumes, like
Yeah.
that. And like maybe I'd be in it too, but just like the idea of writing one, that sounds really. That.
Come on.
The Cyndi Lauper bag.
This
I mean, because all my albums basically want to be
of
musicals.
course.
Yes.
You're in the pocket already, so why not? Okay, we're going to close things off with I Don't Think So, Honey. This is where we take 1 minute each to rail against something.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to
my
ask
God.
you.
Oh, I know.
I have one more thing.
Okay.
Okay, so you talk about when you do films,
Yes.
your commitment to that, and like I don't know if have you described yourself as method? Yes.
That sounds like something I would say.
Yeah.
But embarrassingly remembering, yes.
No, but
No,
I want to know
No.
because your performances are so brilliant. I mean,
Thank
you and
you.
Star. I saw Stars Born 5 times opening weekend.
Thank you.
I love House of Gucci. I mean, like, I wonder, have you approached acting now in a way that you can feel is sustainable, or how do you feel when you are approaching a role now in terms of what you've learned and what you've done, because you've done such incredible stuff?
Thank you. I think that I love making films.
Yeah.
I love being an actor. It's been a privilege working with such amazing actors and actresses, and like every film that I've been a part of. I learned a lot working with Joaquin, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it was a very, very enriching experience. I would say I don't know that it's acting. You're really feeling it when you're doing it, and it's real. So I would say the thing I've learned the most is like to put yourself fully in the moment and to really be in it, you know, as if it was real life, and that it's not it is a performance, but that it's not pretend.
Right.
You know, so I was actually working with it's really like serendipitous moment. I was working with my niece on something related to Wicked.
Oh.
She sings, and I was talking to her about you know, thinking of a moment in her life where it like made her want to cry because she felt so changed inside. And like and sometimes what I want to say about acting is it's not far from singing, you know, that you have to go to a place where you're really truly connecting to what you're saying, and it's not just about the words on their own, it's about like the human being behind it.
Right. But when you play characters that go through such harrowing stuff, yeah, do you think that going forward, like, I don't know if you have anything on the books or whatever, but would you ever do, because you love comedy so much, like, does the lightness appeal to you in terms of that art form?
It actually does. Michael's always like, can you please do a romantic comedy?
Instead of absolutely punishing yourself.
Yes. You know, yes, I would love to do a more lighthearted film. I would, but I love the dark stuff too. That's me.
That is Mayhem.
That's Mayhem.
Yeah, it's Mayhem. You know, I'm like a pretty soft person that adores intensity. So I don't really know where that comes from. I always thought it was funny when I was making this album, because like I would, you know, like I'm at home like making breakfast for me and Michael, and then go to the studio and I'm like kind of soft-spoken and like just being myself, and then like the music was so hard. And it's like
hard.
it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but you know, I guess that's the way that I deal with myself. It's like the way I deal with my anger. It's the way that I deal with my intense feelings.
Yeah.
Got it.
God.
We just love you in all
We
forms.
just love you
and
whatever
I mean,
you
you're
do.
like all. It's just anyway. This is amazing having you here, but we're gonna do our silly little segment now. I don't think so, honey. And I guess I'll start it out.
Okay.
I do have something. Last night, I sort of was like, I had nervous energy, so I was like, I want to take myself on a YouTube wormhole that I've never experienced before. I want a new educational experience, and I got one.
I'm excited to learn. This is Matt Rogers. I don't think so. Honey's time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. People don't respect elephants. You don't understand how complicated their communication is. This is a fact. Elephants can communicate from miles away with each other without seeing each other. They speak, and it is speaking, at a decibel that is so low. Do you understand? I don't think so, honey. You understand. It can't be heard by the human ear, but they are always speaking. Elephants have processes they go through for their grief. They honor their dead.
30 seconds.
They will walk in succession and grieve, and there is different ways of communicating. They're in a matriarchal society. People don't know that.
Period.
And get this. It's not just mom. It's mom and all her friends raising a child. Community.
The aunties.
It's
15
the
seconds.
aunties, it's the friends. They will mimic what it is to feed a child, even if they're not feeding it, just to give the child comfort. Elephants are unbelievable.
5 seconds.
They are not just gorgeous, and think about their trunks. That is amazing. Can you do something like that? I don't think so, honey.
That's 1 minute.
You gotta get on my level when it comes to YouTube at this point. I've never been so connected to the animal world, and sometimes I fear animals.
Yes, you do.
Just the wild ones.
But the elephants are important.
But these elephants, have you ever really gotten into elephant
I'm
culture?
dead over that rant. That was no.
Have you been to Africa to see them?
Yes.
You're
Go
very lucky.
back.
You're very lucky.
Oh my God.
No,
That was
telling you.
amazing.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to give them their shine because, and I actually almost came in here today. I changed my outfit 6 times, Gaga, and landed in a white polo. But I was gonna wear a red sweatshirt with a panda on it.
Oh.
And I just, because they're my next target. I was like, I need to find out what's happening with them.
There's a lot. There's
Oh
a
my
lot going on
God.
there.
And by the way, elephants, when they say they never forget, they really don't. And that's why it's so important to keep them safe, because when they are attacked or they have a
The trauma
family
is
member
lived
attacked,
constantly.
the trauma lives in them forever.
Oh my God.
And they remember it, and they won't go places where they've.
That's so sad.
It is so sad, but the knowledge will embolden us to protect them.
Thank you for your service to the elephants. That was beautiful.
I just care for them so much, and they're so tender and emotional.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, Bowen Yang, do you have an I don't think so, honey, on today?
I do.
Okay. Wonderful to hear. I love when that is true. This is Bowen Yang's I don't think so, honey. His time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Hot ones. You made Lady Gaga cry, and you're gonna give this woman da bomb. I've had it. I had the privilege, quote unquote, of tasting da bomb, and it is battery acid, rancid stuff. Just kidding, Sean Evans. We love you.
Love Sean
everybody
Evans.
at First We Feast.
Cute.
One of the funnest things I've done personally. You were a champ. It did not feel right to make you suffer in that way. While you were trying to talk about the album, while you were trying to
30
talk about your
seconds.
career, I can't. We need to put respect on Lady Gaga's time in her promotional bag. You can't be making this woman chomp on plant-based wings. I think
15
you
seconds.
need to do it off camera. Just say, Sean, how about this? Say, before we recorded, we had Lady Gaga try these wings.
5 seconds.
We're not gonna put the indignity of her sweating and crying and chugging down milk on film for you. That's not for. Some things are too precious, and that's one of them.
And that's 1 minute. Bowen Yang said, fuck your show.
No.
Change the format so that we can... No, but you were amazing.
You were
though.
incredible on it.
oh my God.
What was the process of it like?
What?
No, you're still absorbing that.
I know. I can't. These are like, this is amazing.
No.
Yes.
We're
is
just
amazing.
speaking from the heart.
It's special.
You blown away by I don't think so, honey.
It's so funny.
Sort of
I
legendary.
am.
You're gonna be great.
You're gonna be great.
It's not harder than Hot Ones.
Okay.
I mean, but Hot Ones, was it a good experience?
Yes.
Yeah, but
I had a great
also,
time.
like,
I'm just kidding.
It was
by the way.
spicy.
It was spicy.
But you do spicy. Not really.
I do spicy. Yeah. I mean, I was like, what I thought was funny was that I did like 7 and they were sort of fine, and then 8 out of nowhere.
Yeah, da bomb.
8 out of nowhere kills
I was
you.
what a sneak attack though. Like,
Yeah.
at least let me know at 4 and 6.
Totally.
That this is gonna get bad.
Had you not
Right.
seen the show?
No, of course I had.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just like I don't know if I'd seen like 30 episodes.
Yeah.
Right, but watching from home, you're like, I guess it's a linear.
No, I thought it would
curve.
be. But then I kept laughing at myself because I was like, it's like not actually a contest.
It's not a. No, it's not. A
So like, I'm
contest.
like, am I winning? But like,
If you get to the end, you win, and you
You
won.
do win. You won.
Yeah.
I love that you totally forgot. You were so in the heat of the moment, literally, that you forgot to promote the album. You were like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh
What
yeah, you were like, oh, that was fun.
What am I here to do? That was amazing. That was one of my favorite episodes. And I, again, purely in jest, that is one of my favorite things I've ever done. He's got to do it.
I'll do it one day.
You gotta do it
I'm
one day.
manifesting it.
It's gonna happen. But he really.
We're doing the verses.
We're doing verses.
Yeah.
Matt and I are gonna do the ones where you face. Where that is a game, a contest where you face off against each other. But
He's gonna win.
What I think is so sweet is that he mirrors you. Is that he'll drink if you drink. He eats the wings the same time that you do. I think that's lovely.
I mean, he was really nice.
He's so nice.
He
And
was
I think
really,
he's
really
adorable,
nice.
too.
Yeah, he was so sweet, and I was expecting more spicy
yeah.
until
until And that till I was praying for it to stop.
Until you pray.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, I just had to take them to task. And it's now time for yours if you'd like to do one.
You're going to do one.
So afraid this is going to backfire.
No, it's not.
You just say, I don't think so, honey, then the thing, and then you just kind of let it go.
Let it go.
Okay.
1 minute goes by fast. This is Lady Gaga's I Don't Think So, Honey.
That sentence.
And her time starts now.
Basically, I don't think so, honey, that you guys are putting me on the spot to do this. I don't think so. I don't like to
Drag
rant.
us.
I hate ranting. I hate confronting people.
You're really
I feel
good at
super
it.
uncomfortable. I right now am shaking. Seriously, I would love to just go on stage and sing
Yeah.
and change my outfits and pick my wigs and write songs and make albums and go on tours.
Period.
But I do not want to rant about anything.
Oh, no!
It is so scary to me. I feel scared. I want to cry.
No, please don't cry.
Lean
30
in.
I
seconds.
love you
You're halfway
both
through.
so much, but I don't think so. That you're putting me on the spot. I'm not just gonna do whatever you say, whenever you ask me to do it. When you tell me to do things, it makes me want to cry. It makes me insane.
We shouldn't have done this.
We shouldn't have done this.
I love you so much, and also I don't think so. Don't you ever put me on the spot ever again. But I love doing this.
10
podcast.
seconds.
Thank you so much for having me here, but please, please, please don't make me get angry about anything in public.
Oh, and that's 1 minute, Lady Gaga.
Honestly,
we're so sorry.
hot ones, you should have gotten rid of your hot sauce, lost coach. We should have not done, I don't think so,
We should
honey.
not have. I mean, we have to. The show's done. This is the last episode ever.
This is it.
How can we beat this?
Was that funny?
Yes! Are you kidding me? As if you have to ask. Gaga, you're back. You're,
Did you break in a sweat?
Yes.
Gaga,
Yes,
come on.
you know what? I like to plan.
I know
I'm
you
such
do.
a control freak. I like to plan everything. I like to know every
Where is the team? They
line.
were told about
The
I don't
team
think
was
so,
told
honey.
about
I know,
this.
and I panicked then and now.
We're so sorry, but
That's
look,
okay.
on a meta level, I mean, on a real level, you crushed it. So there you go.
You know, all the best I don't think so honeys have been the one that kind of drags us.
Is
Tina
it?
Fey.
Tina Fey dragged us.
Yeah.
Everybody, truly, the people who come after us tend to succeed. So
Yeah.
well done.
Thank you.
Very well done.
I think I got my voice got very high and loud.
You're warmed up now.
You're
Have you
warmed
already done? No, you haven't done
Not
your
yet,
vocal
not
warm-up
yet. Not yet.
Even on days when you don't perform, you do your warm up?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Especially.
fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's grounding. And then sometimes, yeah. Okay. I can't give too much away.
Okay.
Can't give too much away. I'm in the danger zone with Coachella where it's going to start slipping soon.
Totally, because it's getting closer. It's happening. You're seeing the visuals. We cannot fucking wait.
I'm
It's
so
gonna be
excited. Are you
amazing.
both coming?
We're coming.
Yes.
Yay, we will take care of you.
Oh,
my
no. I'm
God.
coming weekend 2. He's coming weekend 1.
So, but I will go again because I have to be there with him to watch it.
I'm
So
not
I thi-
missing this for the fucking world.
So literally, what it was I had tickets for the first weekend, and he was like, "I'll just come Sunday," and on the odds
Because I'm working on Saturday.
famously, on the odds that she's performing on Sunday night, I'll just come. The Friday announcement, we love it. You're gonna kick off the weekend so incredibly well. But I was like, okay, now I'll go back the second weekend so that I get to go.
Thank
with
you, my
Perfect.
friend. Mayhem is out March 7th.
That's right.
2 days after my birthday. By the way, this kicked off Pisces season in the best way.
Oh, yeah.
It's February 19th, deep in the feels. This is really, really good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I loved this so much. I love you both so much. Thanks for being so kind to me. And it was such a nice hang, too.
It was.
It
We had a
really
good
was.
hang.
Yeah. I hope that we can do it again without microphones.
Oh, yeah, we'll get rid of these
I
things.
love that.
We do end every episode with a song.
Oh.
Killer. I'm a killer. And boy, you're gonna die tonight.
Killer, 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 killer.
For
Oh
more
my
of that,
God. Listen to Mayhem. Bye. Las Culturistas is a production by Will Ferrell's Big Money Players and iHeartRadio podcasts.
created and hosted by Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang. Executive produced by Anna Hosnier and Hans Sani.
Produced by Becca Ramos. Edited and mixed by Doug Babe and Monique Laborde.
And our music is by Henry Kapersky.